Welcome back everyone to the channel. Today we got another episode of Weekly Movie News. Today we got a lot to talk about, a lot of delays to talk about, a lot of live action remakes and a lot of sequels. Before we get started, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. I'm on the road to 500 subscribers. The first story we're going to talk about is Disney is planning live action remakes for Frozen, Tangled, Princess and the Frog, and more are to be rumored in the works. So we've known about Tangled for a little bit and known about Princess and the Frog, but the new one I wanted to talk about was Frozen, because this is pretty interesting because, you know, they're making a new Frozen movie also, a new animated movie, so I don't really get the point why we need a live action remake this fast for this one. I also asked that question for Moana too, because Moana seemed to be coming out so quick. They didn't even do a Moana 2. I think we should have got a Moana 2 before a live action remake that they're making. I think that they're doing these live action remakes way too fast. I think they're just jumping the gun. I don't think people really want to see these live action remakes. The only one that I really want to see is Tangled, because if they get Florence Pugh, that would be really cool. But Frozen, Princess and the Frog, I don't really care about. I think Frozen works a lot better as an animated movie. I think it'll make a lot more money as an animated movie because there's a lot of animation to go into that. I think if you made it live action, there's just way too much CGI and VFX to do on that. You know, it's just too soon, just like Moana. Tangled makes sense because that movie came out many years ago. So, you know, I think Disney is just jumping the gun on this. I think they should do like more sequels rather than live action remakes. I want to know your thoughts on this because I think it's way too soon for these live action remakes. Next up, we got news that Gen V has been renewed for season 4 at Prime Video. This news is super exciting because Gen V season 1 is just such a terrific show. I think it's in like my top 5, maybe top 3 shows of the year. It's so flawless. Every episode has been great. This show is just so, you know, it's very nasty, but you know, it has a lot of heart in it. I love the friend group that's in this show, and the finale comes out next week, so I cannot wait for the finale. The finale I heard is going to be nuts. I think season 2 is going to be nuts. I've heard how they're going to do it. Basically what they're going to do is have Gen V season 1 lead into the Boys season 4, then they're going to have the Boys season 4 lead into Gen V season 2, and then so on. So that's kind of interesting. I like how they do that. That means we'll probably get new characters joining Gen V, probably like a new class, I would assume. I don't know if the characters from season 1 are going to stay around, but I cannot wait for season 2. I think that these shows are just so good. The writing is excellent. We got news that the live action Fallout series is premiering on April 12th on Prime Video. I'm not sure if they're launching with one episode, multiple episodes. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be an 8-episode show. I'm not really familiar with Fallout too much. I played some of the games on Xbox when I had an Xbox One. I didn't really get into them so much. I know a lot of people are big fans of this. I played the mobile app too. I thought the mobile app was pretty fun, but I don't really know the whole story and kind of lore around Fallout. Hopefully it's good. I think it will be good because Prime Video is, of course, they're behind some amazing shows like Gen V, Invincible, The Boys. You know, I think they can do a good job with this show. I think people did see a trailer for this one, at Comic-Con or whatever it was shown at, but I think we might get a trailer soon to the public, which is very exciting. Paddington 3 releases on January 17th, 2025 in theaters, so a long ways away, but I mean, if you love the Paddington movies, you're probably going to be excited for this one. I think they're stopping with a third one. I think it's just going to be a trilogy. I like the first one a lot. The second one was amazing. I love the feel of these movies. They're just so much like comfort movies, so fun, and hopefully the third one is as good. You know, I heard Rachel Zegler was going to be in it, but she had to drop out because of the strikes, which is kind of disappointing. But you know, it's an interesting date they chose for this one, January, because you know, major movies like this don't really get released in January, but I'm still very excited because Paddington is a very good franchise of movies. Next up, we have news about Mike Flanagan's next project, which is The Life of Chuck, and starring in this is going to be Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Jacob Tremblay, and we got Tom Hiddleston, Mark Hamill, and I've heard Matthew Lillard is also going to be in this. So this cast is just stacked. I love this cast so much. I love that Jacob Tremblay is coming back in another Mike Flanagan project, and I've heard that The Life of Chuck is another Stephen King adaptation. I think it's a book of short stories that I haven't read from him, but I've heard it's pretty good. I think it is going to be a movie too, which is pretty interesting because Mike Flanagan, man, he just knocks at the park with everything that he does with his shows for Netflix. You know, he's done with Netflix now. I think he's moving on Amazon Prime doing Dark Tower, and his movies are of course amazing. I loved Doctor Sleep. It it just gets better every time I see it. And this cast, man, Chiwetel Ejiofor is really underrated. Karen Gillan is of course amazing, and Tom Hiddleston, Mark Hamill was in The Fall of Usher, so he's gonna be great. And Matthew Lillard is one of the most underrated actors, I think, and I really love him a lot. So I cannot wait for this. This cast is just getting me so excited. And I really need to read up on this book, The Life of Chuck, to really see what it's all about. But just from this cast, and Mike Flanagan, he does a terrific job, so I can't wait. I also wanted to talk about this story just for a little bit. Apple TV Plus has now increased their price to $9.99 a month, and an increase of basically $3 a month. Apple was the cheapest streaming service. I'm not sure if this is still the cheapest price. I think it will be on the market for the cheapest price still, but $10 is not bad. I expected this increase of price because they weren't going to make a lot of money with the price that they were at. So $10 a month is still pretty good because Apple TV has some great content. They have Silo, Ted Lasso, Shrinking, and they're going to get the Monarch Godzilla show. They bought Killers of the Flower Moon. That's going to be on their streaming service, Napoleon. So they're really building a really nice catalog for themselves, and $10 a month is really good for that. I cannot wait for what other content they're going to make. I heard For All Mankind is all awesome too. So if you haven't got Apple TV Plus or haven't tried it, I really suggest trying it out because it has some amazing shows, some of my favorite of the year so far. And I am going to still continue to use it for $10 a month because, as I said, I think it is worth it. And I think it's one of the best streaming services we have at the moment. Now we're going to talk about some movies getting new release dates and some movies getting their first release date. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, we have some bad news. It's been delayed to May 23rd, 2025. It got delayed almost a whole year. This is basically because the strike's going on, the actor strike, because they've only filmed about half of Part 2 so far, and I think they are wanting to make some changes with the script and all that. And I've also heard that they might change the title, which is kind of baffling because Part 2 makes sense. I don't know why you change it from Part 2 when there's already been a Part 1, but we're not going to get this one for a long time. That means no Tom Cruise film next year, which really sucks because this was probably going to be my most anticipated film in 2024, but now we got to wait all the way till 2025. But I've heard that this one is going to go even crazier than Part 1, which is kind of crazy to hear because Part 1 was insane, but it's going to be a long wait. 2025. A Quiet Place Part 1 Day 1 has been delayed to June 28th, 2024. So this one is still coming out next year because it was already done filming. I think it's done with post-production too. They're just waiting until the strikes are over to start promoting it. So June 28th is actually a pretty good time for this one because I think all the other Quiet Place movies also got released near the summer, and this one has a stacked cast. It's going to be interesting to see it as like kind of a prequel because we saw in The Quiet Place 2 that the first 15 minutes took place on day 1. This whole movie is going to take place on day 1. Very interesting to see how this one works out. The Black Phone 2 got announced, and it's going to release in theaters June 27th, 2025. So a long ways away, but I was not expecting The Black Phone 2 to actually be announced because the first one ended as like a concrete ending. Ethan Hawke's character, the Grabber, is basically dead, I assume, but I guess they have a really good idea for a sequel. I'm not sure if it's going to be like totally different. I'm not sure if we're going to get the whole cast back. I would like to get the whole cast back, the 2 kids in it, because I thought they were great. Ethan Hawke would be cool to get back, but I don't know how they're going to bring him back because he basically died in the last one. So it's an interesting idea to make a Black Phone 2 because the first one was so great and so successful, but it's going to be really weird. I assume I just gonna wait for the story. If the story's good, sure, do it, but if the story's not good, then I'm gonna be disappointed because the first one was so good. Then we got news that Disney's Snow White has been delayed almost a year to March 21st, 2025. So a long time for this one. And I did say on Twitter, I don't think this is because of the strikes. I think that they're gonna be reshooting a lot of this film because if it got delayed a year and it's already done filming and I think almost done with post-production, that seems a little bit odd to be delaying it just a whole year because of the strikes. And I think they're going to end maybe in a couple months or so. And the first picture got released, and I think the CGI on whatever the creatures are, the dwarves, look absolutely horrendous. I think Rachel Zegler is going to be amazing. She has a great voice, but I'm not sure what they're doing with the dwarves or the magical creatures, what they call them. But this movie's just surrounded with a lot of controversy. I think they're going to try to reshoot some of the movie. Probably not all of it because that would cost too much. But I think this is probably because a lot of reshoots and maybe because of the strike. But I think it's mostly because of the reshoots they're probably going to do. Pixar's Elio has also been delayed for over a year now. And it's going to be released June 13th, 2025. This is so surprising to me because I don't understand why this one is getting delayed a year too, because I'm pretty sure it's mostly done. Maybe they just have to do voice work, but that really doesn't take a long time. And I think that this was going to come out pretty soon in 2024. It doesn't really make sense to delay this. Maybe they're going to make some changes to the story. But honestly, I'm very confused at why this was delayed, because they already have a first trailer out for this one. It looked pretty interesting, but it honestly didn't feel like a Pixar movie when I watched the trailer. So maybe they're making changes to this one too, but it's interesting what Disney and Pixar are doing with their movies and delaying them so long. But this delay makes sense. Magazine Dreams, starring Jonathan Majors, has been removed from the December 2023 calendar, and there's no release date. This is basically because of Jonathan Majors and his legal troubles. He still hasn't gone to court yet. I don't think it hasn't been resolved yet. It keeps getting delayed. I don't know why they keep delaying it. I don't know why they just can't find a decision if he's guilty or not. I don't know why you're going to remove it. Just release it, get it over with. If you really care about the legal troubles, then I would just say release it. It's like get it out of your hair then, so you don't have to worry about it later, don't have to worry about marketing it again. But Magazine Dreams has left the release schedule. I've heard good things, so hopefully we'll be able to see it soon, but it's not coming out anytime soon. Now You See Me 3 is officially moving forward at Lionsgate. I cannot wait for this one. Now You See Me 1 and 2 are such fun films. I love films about magic, and just look at that cast. The cast is absolutely amazing. I hope that it has a good director. I'm not sure who's coming back and directing, or if it's going to be a new director. Hopefully the whole cast comes back, but I cannot wait for this one. I love the first two movies, and this one is going to be pretty cool. I think it's probably going to come out around 2025 is my guess. But that's all the new news that I have for you guys today. Make sure you leave a like, as I said. And what do you guys think of the news? Make sure to comment your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.